Welcome back to KRCB's live coverage of today's election. I'm Bruce Robinson, along with Dick Spotswood. We've had Danielle Venton in the field, and we'll be talking with candidates in just another moment. First, let's take a look at the numbers that we have been recapping briefly for you. And Dick, basically there's one race in play right now that is real close.
Amazing. This is in the 5th Supervisorial District of Marin County. Incumbent is Judy Arnold. She's a two-term incumbent, and she's running against a local realtor, very active in the community, named Tony Scheuer. Right now, with 65% of the votes counted, Judy Arnold is ahead by 95 votes.
That's a virtual tie.
Virtual tie. And as our counter, our statistician here is Bruce Rafel. We'd have to mention Bruce and thank him for all the work he does at our computer.
Thank you, Bruce.
And as Bruce says, this race will not be determined tonight. Not because the Marin County Registrar of Voters Office is slow, but because when these numbers are this close, odds and end votes will come in over the next week to 10 to 15 days. And I guarantee you that if there is a 95 vote spread between Arnold and Scheuer, there will be a recount.
Yeah.
There has to be. I mean, it's just a natural.
As a matter of course.
This is not, these were two candidates who ran a very aggressive campaign. Scheuer's campaign is run by a fellow who's done a lot of work in Sonoma County, Herb Williams.
Your name behind the scenes here.
A name well known to many Sonoma County players, and he's apparently done an excellent job because Scheuer was certainly not a household word before this campaign, and Judy Arnold probably was a household word.
So from a very close race, excuse me, a very close race, we now turn to one that's not so close. Supervisor David Rabbitt, well on the way to keeping your job for another 4 years. Was it easier this time?
Any campaign is always a nerve-wracking experience. I think anyone who has gone through a campaign understands that. And you put yourself out there, you tell people what you want to do, what you have done, what your experiences are, and it's always a little nerve-wracking to make sure that it's being heard and understood, and people are going to respond to that when they go to the ballot box.
But for you, it's almost deja vu, same opponent and everything.
Well, one of them anyway, and but I feel good. It was actually a good opportunity to go out and talk to the voters about what we've done for the last 3 years and 3.5 years. And there's been a lot of good stuff happening here in Sonoma County, and I was happy to go out and actually campaign and tell people about it.
Well, this is quite, just we do the two county results. Obviously, Sonoma County has been a place where the Board of Supervisors is not a bad name. You're well regarded. You're I'm not sure it's quite a landslide, but close to a landslide tonight for you. It's certainly a handy re-election for the next 4 years. In the race up in the northern Sonoma, Mike McGuire was well enough regarded to run for the state senate and effectively be elected tonight. Just interesting to see how two counties so close that have much in common. Politics at this moment is different.
It is, I think, and we've had our struggles obviously the last year and a half here in Sonoma County as well, in different matters. But I think we've, and I only speaking for our county and the work that we've done, and I as chair for the last 2 years, I think that we've kind of maneuvered through those waters. I think hopefully with some grace and dignity, and with a little statesmanship along the way, and really try to really make sure that we went about our work with that in mind.
Holding the gavel at this point as you're running for re-election, does that give you a bit of an advantage? Does that elevate the status a little bit, or does it make you more of a target?
A little bit of both. I think it makes it very difficult. It's hard to find the time to do anything, and the job is demanding in terms of the hours, and certainly when you add being chair on top of that, it's even more so. Of course, hindsight, I wish I had taken a week or two off on vacation and really gone full bore campaigning. But work was important, things were happening, and there's never a downtime at the county, which is, it's a good thing. Every day is an interesting day. Every day there's new things to tackle and new issues, challenges in front of us. But being chair adds a workload, certainly, and I enjoy it, and I can't complain at all. 4
years in, you've got a pretty good sense of where the problems lie, where the issues are, where your interests converge. What do you want to concentrate on in another term?
I think what I've really, through my first term, what I've really see myself, I like long-term policy. The first year in, we tackled pensions. Not really a romantic thing because there's no immediate satisfaction. It's kind of this 10-year plan of turning it around. We've made great strides. In fact, very proud of the work that we've done. $170 million in savings going forward. We've lowered our unfunded liability by $44.8 million this last year alone. We're going to save $4.5 million in annual payments from the county. That's great work, but we have more to do going forward. Roads, another issue, long-term policy. We have so many roads in this county, and they're in such disrepair, but there's a shortage of funds to make sure that we can do that. But we spent the last 2 years more on roads than ever before, but we have more work to do in that. So I really do like the long-term policy, coming up with those plans that will really get us over the hump. It's not going to happen this year, it may not happen next year, but for future generations, we're going to leave the place in a better condition than it is today.
The Efren Carrillo events seem to have not disrupted the progress the Board of Supervisors has been making. Normally one would think it would. How have you maneuvered through that minefield?
It's been difficult, but I think that the board itself always understood that our work was important and that we needed to keep our eye on the ball of making sure that we were addressing all the concerns of the entire county and not getting distracted by what was happening with one of our members. I won't say that it was a pleasant thing to go through, but I think, again, I think we maneuvered through that with getting the work done and really not having it be the huge distraction that it could have been.
We've got Sonoma Power Online, we've got Spark coming. There's some big changes on the horizon for the county.
There certainly are. The infrastructure alone in this county, between SMART, Highway 101, which I've just traveled up from Petaluma, and we still have a little ways to go there. But if you look at
traffic is pretty good at this hour.
Traffic is very good at this hour. But from Novato all the way to Windsor, it's over $1 billion construction project to widen the freeway. It's been going on for 9 years now. But really, $1 billion for a county that's really only putting a 1/4-cent sales tax in, which is small potatoes in terms of the total investment. We've leveraged that money really well, and I think we should all be proud of that. We have a little more ways to go. I think we'll get there. So there's a lot of good things happening, and I look forward to a lot of really finishing up some of these things in this next 4-year term.
The economy in Sonoma County, is it a struggle to keep it diversified? Is tourism in danger of asserting itself at the expense of some of the other sectors?
At times, I think, though, you saw tourism really keep the county floating through the recession years. The local travel coming up to Sonoma, huge impact on never really took a downturn in tourism here in Sonoma County, so I think that was good. People talk about the amount of vineyard crops that we have being so kind of tied onto grapes, but again, it's a cash crop. It's very important for our local economy. I think you do see a further diversification. There's a lot of people out there working to make sure that we can diversify as well as possible, realizing that there are limitations to that you don't want to, cut off your nose to spite your face in terms of making sure that we go forward. Being strong county for agriculture, which is really our backbone, and understanding the natural beauty that we have here that people want to come and visit.
We had Jared Huffman here earlier tonight and Mike McGuire, who have districts now going all the way up the North Coast. And all I can say is that North Coast region would do anything to have Sonoma County's tourism business. The struggle up there is the opposite of your struggle.
Yeah.
Your struggle is controlling growth. Their struggle is attracting growth.
Yeah, and in our struggle here in our county, and I constantly say this from being in the 2nd district, which is a little different than the other districts, not being part of Santa Rosa, is that there are some impacted areas within the county in terms of the tourism. Maybe over in Sonoma Valley, Dry Creek, Alexander Valley, some areas get really impacted, but there are other areas that have great opportunities. Ag tourism is something that can really take off here in the future. Local produce, local food, that whole movement. People want to know where their food's coming from. In fact, they want to stay where their food's coming from. That's something that we could really tackle and move forward on, working with Supervisor Kinsey from Marin County, because Western Marin and Petaluma area is really all one in terms of the agricultural dynamics that are down there. There's great opportunity there, and I think that the tasting room revolt of years past kind of put a shadow over some of the things that we were doing in District 2 in terms of butteries, creameries, value-added products, to make sure that those farms can stay active and have a succession plan for those families down there as well, but really be able to make sure that they can be viable going forward. So that economic diversity is really, I think, important going forward in the next couple of years.
David Rabbitt, thanks very much for being with us this evening.
Bruce.
Congratulations on a strong
Thanks,
showing
Dick.
this evening.
Appreciate it very much.